being ran. Yes, I like gangbangs. I like being manhandled by several different men at once. If you want to call it being ran, you call it whatever the fuck you want. I'm sexually liberated. And I'm a goddess, and I deserve to have hands all over my body. Right. I deserve to be worshipped. Like, why not? I deserve that attention. All right.
So I think the issue here falls in like moral, like personal moral beliefs, right? Like for me, would I think that's like being valued? No, but that's my morals, and my morals I can't impose on other people, right? So as a consensual adult, would I engage in that behavior? No. If she is and everyone's consensual, that is her decision. Do I necessarily agree with it? No. But am I like okay with them engaging in that? Like, sure, that's their thing. Not really my business. I'm not engaged in it, right? Like, in the sense that they're adults. That like you have a choice to determine what you want to happen in certain scenarios. Not all, but in certain scenarios. Um, but like that, there's always a limit with things, right? Like, but that's a personal thing. Like your limits. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So like, do I have to support it actively? No. But can I be like, sure, girl, like whatever floats your boat, sure. Like I wouldn't actively say that, but like,
But friend, condoning and supporting is kind of the same thing, though.
mm, so
It is.
if I'm a vegan and I like
Friend, if I condone, and I'm not even talking about this specific situation. And Danny, I'm about to talk to you in 1 minute. If I condone anyone's bad behavior, I'm in a way supporting their bad behavior. So it's like it's condoning and supporting is not really. It's not different at all.
but what
I'm
else
like
am I meant to do aside from just like be like, okay, you do you. Like, am I meant to punish them?
no.
What's the other solution?
Can I?
Yeah,
The
but Noble,
solution.
that be happening on lives, Noble. That be happening on lives. Because if somebody's speaking up on something or whatever and saying something in the chat, people are quick to attack you. Like, yo, why didn't you step up? Why didn't you say this? Well, you must be condoning it.
Right.
Mhm.
All right,
Exactly.
let me go mute.
Can I ask a question? Why does it always seem
Okay,
like
ask a quick question, and then Danny needs to speak. Danny needs to speak. Ask a
why
question
does it
to
always
Frank.
seem like people who don't condone it or don't support it or to say that, hey, I wouldn't do it, are always the ones defending it? Like in any other
That's my
situation.
last question. Hey,
So
that's my
that's the
last question.
thing,
That's the
though.
last question I've been asking.
Go ahead,
That's the
ask it.
last question I've been asking all of them. So we're gonna get to it. Guys, please meet up. Danny's gonna have some very interesting things to say about this. Danny, go ahead, unmute. Thank you for waiting patiently, Danny.
I've been so patient.
I know. So Danny, what are your initial thoughts from the audio? And does she make you feel empowered?
I don't think she makes me feel empowered just because I I don't have that same interest, so I just don't care what she does, so I don't spend any time thinking about it. Do I think the fact that she is disclosing and openly talking about a kink that she has without shame is empowering? Yeah, I think that's empowering.
Okay. What does being sexually liberated mean to you?
So sexual liberation truly is just about feeling that you can enjoy the acts that you want with the people that you want without shame, and that you are empowered to do so. And that is not a gendered thing. That is both for men and women. Men can be sexually liberated or not. A lot of men experience shame about the things that they have interest in or the people that they have interest in. So it really isn't like this women sexual liberation thing. It's about alleviating shame from the sexual experience for everyone.
Do you think there's a thin line between hypersexuality and being sexually liberated?
No, I think they're two very distinct things. And honestly, neither is about the number of partners that you have. Sexual liberation is about that freedom of choice without shame. Hypersexuality or sexual compulsion is just that, it's a compulsion. It's feeling that you don't have control over having sex, and that you do so even though it is causing negative things in your life or hurting you in some way, but you don't have the ability to not resist that urge. That's what sexual compulsion is. That can stem from trauma. It does not necessarily always stem from trauma, just so that people are aware, but they're just completely different things. And you can have sexual compulsivity and not actually have that many partners, and you can be sexually liberated and not have that many partners. So really isn't about how many people you're with.
So do you think women that, behave in the manner of the woman in the video, do you think a lot of those women are sexually liberated, or do you think a lot of those women are hypersexual?
I think most of them are just sexually liberated. She's openly talking about a kink. That's a pretty decent sign of sexual liberation versus compulsion, because compulsion tends to come with inherently a lot of shame. So people usually aren't being confidently talking about their compulsive acts.
Danny, just
Okay,
based on
so
like your education specifically within this sector, can you just kind of like touch on perhaps where like the stigma comes from?
Ooh, that's a big topic. I think a lot of that just comes from, the cultural perspective that we are living in a very patriarchal society, and that comes with a lot of roles and narratives and elements of control that we are slowly growing away from. But a lot of, I think, the misogynistic views, especially around women, but also around some of the things that men do, stem from wanting to control women and sex for, you kind of said it, like a lot of societal motives, lineage, inheritance, power, lots of some of that stuff is still present.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what Fran is trying to allude to, well, not trying to, what she is alluding to, and yeah, exactly, patriarchy. Okay, exactly. Okay, they want to use the p word. You just go call it what it is, ladies and gentlemen. They
But
are
I
alluding
said
to
patriarchy.
this. Okay, okay,
I said
okay.
it.
I
Yeah.
didn't hear you say it.
I
Okay.
know. That's why I put that in the
I'm not
chat.
shying away
Like,
from it.
like
Like
can
that's
I can I
the
respond? Can
truth.
I respond to that,
Go
Mr.
ahead, Ty.
Noble?
Go ahead,
So
Ty.
so it's kind of crazy because people always are quick to say that word patriarchal thing, bro. Like it's like, oh my gosh, like people need to worry about. I said we need to worry about more of these things that are within our circle right now, for us to strengthen ourselves so we can take on such feats, and especially if we're speaking on white supremacy. Like people are keep on having all types of different words, misogynistic, patriarchal, and this and that. It almost seems like in a lot of cases it's distinct to that specific person, because like because everybody slapped the words on everything and you never know what's true or not. Like
Wait,
it's
but
silly.
so at least from when I say that word, like patriarchy, I think it's really hard to pretend as though men didn't have a significant factor in how we view a lot of societal roles, especially given obviously like it's been slightly over like a century since women got rights, but that wasn't all women. That was white women. And then it kind of stems into like different realms of society, right? Like within races and classes and how we were able to like actually get a signing platform. I mean, for God's sakes, like New York is one of the oldest states in America, and we just got our first female governor. I don't know how else to like fully explain and expand to you. And I think, and this is, I'm not a parent by no means, but I think as your children get older, as far as I'm aware, you have a daughter. Like you may eventually see the detriment that it does bring to women in modern society. But like, even myself as a woman, like in finance in New York, like it's like shocking the shit I hear and the double standard that like I have to witness on a daily fucking basis. And it's not an excuse, it's like a reality. So like I don't think it needs to be like demeaned or like minimized. Like it's a real thing. And just because
Well,
you don't
honestly,
experience
as I
it,
mentioned before,
same way
it's
that
not
people
being minimized. It's
people
not being minimized at all.
but
As
the
I
same
said,
way that people say that
I am a
racism doesn't
person
really
that
exist,
don't
like
believe
it's
people
weird.
should live in victimhood. I don't believe
It's
because
not victimhood, it's a
because
fact.
at the end of
Oppression
at
of
the end of the day,
ethics.
ladies and gents, at the end of the day, ladies and gents, I understand these things go
But
happen,
like it's an
and it's
actual
very
fact. The
much
same way
real.
that
It's
people
very much
BS
real,
about
Noble. but at the same
Racism
time
not
too, we could
existing.
just
It's
do
the
the
same with this
best.
book
Like,
we
we do
asked
the best at
about.
actually doing instead of just saying. We have a lot of people in this world that just want to do talking,
Oh,
talking, talking instead of actually putting in some work and then putting in some effort. Okay,
oh my god.
I have a boy and I have a girl. Actually, I have twins.
Okay,
All
Ty.
right,
Well, then you would
they
know that this
split
civil
down the
rights
middle.
act passed
Okay,
before
and
most
as a
people
Caribbean man, I'm
who are
not going to
female
teach my daughter
cross.
to be in a victimhood mentality. I don't want her to feel like, oh, she's always attacked, because at the end of the day, we are black people. We are black
Okay,
people. We are
Ty.
always going
Well,
to
then
be
you would
attacked by
understand.
every single angle, every single corner. Okay, so I'm not going to tell her, hey, men are doing this, men are doing that. I'm going to tell her people are evil. People
The
could do
thing is,
this.
though, Ty, you
So
don't have to tell her because she will
good.
face it in the real
Okay, hold on.
Yes,
Let me
without
finish
sure.
with Danny. Let me finish with Danny. 1 second.
She will face it in the real world.
1 second. Danny, do you think it's appropriate women who don't spread themselves thin support these sexually liberated women that do?
Yes, I think we should all support everyone in making their own personal decisions for their sex lives, assuming that everyone is doing so with same, safe, consensual adults. Then you do you, support you doing you, and as by doing that, then we all get to choose what we want, whether that is being kinky or vanilla or having lots of partners or monogamy or poly or whatever you want. You absolutely can support that, even if you're not enacting all of those things yourself.
Okay. And before I have you touch on anything else that you want to touch on, so when we were talking the other day, you said that you said you like know people personally, both men and women, but you said like verbatim, like men that they would love to see someone else piping their girl down, and after they're done, give them a pat on the back and tell him he did a good job, right?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. No, yeah, those men's are wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to say about that. Yes, they exist. I know them.
I'm sure they exist, but I mean, damn. But Danny, you've been waiting patiently. Danny, is there anything else that you want to? You heard anyone else say that you want to touch on? Because you've been waiting for a while.
I mean, these are kind of unrelated because I had been waiting for a minute, but just especially Noble, love the Rochelle, very cute. One of the things you said just about like sex toys desensitizing you, not true. That's a
let's
myth.
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Does not desensitize you, so do not be afraid to like bring that toy in with you. It's your teammate, not your competitor. Just want to give you that little.
No. Listen. I know, and I haven't even done this before, but like I know that like people like use it sometimes when they're doing whatever they're doing. I'm just saying, Danny, that like some women that they're doing it to themselves with themselves so much that like when they finally get the real thing, like I said, a man's tongue is not that machine that you're putting down there. Like them things that you're using that got batteries in them, they're machines. Human beings are
I
not
mean, most are
machines.
chargeable
When you
now,
use
but
when you use the
but no,
machine
like
so much,
that literally is not how the human body works. Like your body will not like so acclimate to a toy that you are not going to respond with a partner. Like that is just a
Danny,
I got a question
I
for
don't
you.
care
Danny,
if you're
hold on,
using that toy five times a
hold on.
day. It
Let me
is
ask
not
this
going to
question real
happen.
quick.
It's not going
So
to
hold on,
happen.
Talk about
hold on, wait, hold on, Danny. If a man is watching too much corn and he's like beating his meat every day, when he does get an opportunity to like be with a real woman, he might there's like this, he might not be able to get hard, he might not
Mhm.
be able to climax because he's his in his head, he's his brain is wired to what he sees, he's been watching on the screen so much that now he's with a real person, and he wants that real person to be the same thing that he's been watching on the screen, so the two of them don't translate. So if that can
Because
happen for
porn
men,
is not education.
why are you saying, you said what?
So there's a reason for that. One, porn is not education. So if you're trying to replicate what you're seeing in porn, you're going to be having bad sex. That's not what good
Say
sex looks like.
corn, Danny. Say corn.
Oh, sorry, corn.
Right.
But yeah, it's entertainment. It's not education. Do not try to replicate it. That's not going to work out well for you. The other part of that, that's a little bit.
so you're saying people can't learn from watching that? If it's the first time they've watched it.
It's a bad lesson. It's not going to teach you how to actually.
But that's subjective. You're saying that's a
Please
bad
don't mind.
lesson.
No,
You're saying
that
it's
Yeah, it's
amateur
subjective.
like
is that
Can I
amateur is
just
fire. Not gonna lie.
but also just to kind of go on your point of why sometimes that can lead to ED and some of these things is when we're
Right.
watching sex, the learning part of our brain does activate, which is different than when you're just experiencing like solo sex. So a different part of the brain is getting triggered when you are visually seeing something. So that is sometimes why some of these associations can be a little bit stronger. It doesn't mean that they can't be undone by any means. They absolutely can, but just a little bit of a thing to be mindful about when you're viewing sex.
Can I
right.
ask a
Also,
question real
Dan,
quick?
You can be desensitized by anything.
Right.
mm, well,
Mhm.
I mean, Danny's coming from a place of like expertise, but I wanted to ask Danny like whether the expectations associated with watching something is like proven or in your experience has been extremely different to like physically experiencing something.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I think the way like what is portrayed in porn is very male pleasure focused. And I think more often than not, one, it is just usually acts that are not the most pleasing for female bodies. So part of why there's like the orgasm gap, but also it tends to make a lot of men insecure about themselves and they are comparing themselves to the male actors, unfairly so, because a lot of those actors get
All right,
breaks and
no,
are edited
Noble.
and
Can
have
I ask you a
buffers.
wait,
question on the same thing, Noble? So, Noble,
Damn.
when people are watching stuff on TV, do they not learn from the things that they see?
They
I'm asking.
definitely get influenced.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so it's a big influence. So let me give you another situation. What if it's a person that's a boy and he has never no a man he's never had sexual encounter before or whatever he doesn't even know what it looks like or whatever and he
yeah.
watches it, right? You don't think if he watches a show or a couple of stuff on the internet, is he not going to be able to learn something from that? Is
He
that
is.
I mean,
I mean,
true or false?
he can
he is.
learn
But let's
Okay,
something.
okay.
He can
So
learn, but
don't
like
so
there are better places to learn the basics.
no. But Danny,
that was
I
not the
think
question,
one,
Miss Danny.
I think the
That's not
basic
that was
starting
not the
point.
question. The question is if we can learn from the things that we see, and clearly we can learn from it. Even though you feel like it's a specific male thing that males look into these things, that's not completely
but I
entirely
have a
true.
question.
I
I
didn't
have a
say this
question.
was a male thing. Plenty of women watch porn.
Okay.
Right.
let me
Plenty
Yeah,
of
ask a
women
I
watch
Hold on,
porn.
hold on,
wanted
hold on,
to
guys. Hold on, hold
say
on,
I
hold on. I have a
googled
question.
it.
Hold on, I have a question to ask Danny. So Danny, you said that, how corn can make, men feel insecure about themselves. And you're 100% right about that. But Danny, can't corn make women feel insecure about themselves as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted
I
to
also
clear it up.
can
can I ask a
I add
question
in.
real quick? Right,
Yeah.
since we're talking
Issy,
about
you ask a question and then Fran, you can say something, and then I want to let Charles speak. So go ahead.
so
Issy.
since we're talking about like desensing, like becoming desensitized.
Desensitization.
Yeah, yeah, you know what the fuck I was meaning to say, damn it. But so you saying that it can't happen from a toy, based off of like what happens that toy being a toy, not a human being. I'm and that it doesn't happen at all.
So not in like a long-term sense. The most that you're ever going to desensitize your body is just in terms of prolonging your refractory period. So that's just the time in which your body kind of can't take any more sexual stimuli. So men experience that usually after orgasm. Women do too, but more often women can sometimes be a little bit more multi-orgasmic. So if you're using a toy and you're giving yourself back-to-back orgasms, at a certain point your body is going to like tap out, but it's going to tap out for like 30 minutes. There's no like prolonged damage or desensitization that's going to happen from using a toy.
I think when I say like being desensitized, I'm saying of the expectations that come with it. So if I got a toy, the Coco 3000 toy, right, and I'm using that joint every day, right. So when I get a real woman and she giving me her best Coco 3000, it's not adding up to the machine
Exactly.
that I got.
Exactly. And Danny, real quick. Because I've had a woman tell me personally, and she was actually on here earlier, but she told me that like she had to stop using, certain things because when she got with her man's tongue couldn't do what she was using was doing. So it was taking her. She like wasn't getting off when she was with her man, and he was performing certain acts on her because she had become so accustomed to using her toy and what her toy could do. So like to say that there's no like correlation between the two. I don't know, Danny.
It's not that the toy like prevents her. It's that the toy is going to do a very good job and is going to get you there very quickly. To have a person do that, it's just going to be a completely different experience. That doesn't mean that you won't be able to enjoy it or orgasm from it. Same thing. And like, there's also so many more factors. Like a toy is one thing. A partner, there's so many other stimuli. There's kissing, there's touching, there's sound, there's all of these other things that should be making this experience a positive one for you. Using a toy is not going to prevent you from enjoying partnered sex.
Noble. I have heard and I have also seen this all over the place, brother. Especially when it comes to the TikTok. Definitely, when it comes to this rose toy, it definitely like I've seen situations, and I can pull it up too. But I've seen situations where they said that it overstimulates the the clit, and it gets kind of crazy, and people have actually had reviews that it definitely has harmed them in some type of way. So there are studies. I can look it up for you if you like.
It just might be too strong of a toy for some people. That's going to be personal preference.
Yes, because there's different levels. I heard like 1 to 10. So
Ty, bro. Ty, listen.
Yes, personally, I give that one 5 stars.
Ty, listen.
5 stars.
There's literally Ty. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, Ty. There is literally, bro. I've seen a couple of these just perusing, bro. They got some of these, bro, that they dead ass sound like a lawnmower, like a real lawnmower, like a lawnmower.
The classic
bro.
Hitachi. It's one of the old school ones.
It's literally like. Like, bro, how do you expect a man to be able to do something like that, bro? Like, that's not.
No one is expecting a man to be a vibrator.
Go ahead and say. I'm about to pull this up right now. Fran, go ahead and say what you want to say, and then I'm gonna go to Charles. I'm about to pull this up.
The part with this, I feel like, is almost like a stigmatization. I hate to use that word, but like about like a woman's pleasure, right? Like everybody is different, and I feel like almost like similarly, but not an exact like comparison would be like men watching corn themselves and giving themselves like a hand friend. I don't want to get you banned. I don't know what to
Yeah, I know what you're talking
but like,
about, Fran.
if a woman does it, it's not the exact same thing. Like, you're not going to expect it to be the exact same thing, right? But like, it's different because it's someone else. Like, you're with someone else, and like the other thing is like a consistency factor, right? Like, I personally haven't, but like I'm assuming that like if a woman does use like a friend or whatever, like it's going to be consistent, so it's a little easier to hit that point. Now, the relief that men often feel, I suppose, from reaching a certain point, it's nuts because like they enjoy it, but they're like, oh well, like who gives a fuck if like a woman does? Like what? Like everyone should have enjoyment and happiness, whatever, and like it doesn't really matter that much, like in the long run. Like if you're married for like 50 years and like that's how like, your wife is able to achieve that, or like whatever else, like maybe just facilitate it instead of like judging and being like, oh fuck the batteries, like who cares? Like it's really not that deep in the long run.
Fran, one thing, and then I'll let you finish. I'll let Charles. Listen, I want to be clear though. I'm not saying that there's not men out here that, they are giving unleaded grade D pipe just terrible. I'm not saying that
the
there
fact
aren't
that you're
men
saying pipe though, Nicole, like it's 99% of the time not from penetrative action. So like the fact that you're even saying that just like clearly distinguishes how different the expectations are from men and women in the bedroom.
When he says pipe, that's just a shorter word for like an entanglement / sexual experience, like
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I removed that comment.
But Fran, did you want to say anything else before I let Charles speak?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay.